Hello, hello. Welcome. If you're listening live on Adobe Radio right now, appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit us up on Twitter at WeSams_world and hit us up with a message or tag us on Instagram at WeSam's World. I almost said my name. You can tag me too at WeSamKeish. It's fine. We have Peyton Grufik behind the scenes and Zeke Duhan. Zeke, we never really tagged your Instagram handle. I think that's appropriate. We should do that now that you're part of the family. So it's what's your Instagram handle again? At Zeke Duhan, right? Zeek, right? It's Zeek, right?
No.
It's the other way around. Zeke.
Yeah.
Yeah. I still have you as Zeek
You do.
in my phone, just because you made me upset one day, and then I just I'm not changing this. I'm really excited for today's guest. We're going to do some here in a little bit. If you're not listening live on Adobe Radio, and you're watching us on YouTube, thanks for watching. Make sure you hit our subscribe button, the bell icon, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of comments down below on this episode especially. So have fun, be nice, and try not to get too mean with each other. And remember that we're all human beings. Most of us are, I feel like, most of us. My guest today is someone who I was really excited having on the show. He has a YouTube channel with about 2 million subscribers called Professor Dave Explains. It focuses primarily on the science, and there's some debates on there, fighting misinformation. And one of my favorite things about the site is how it clearly explains scientific things I grew up with in school in a very clear and coherent way and engaging way, and I really wish I had it as a kid. And in college, I might have made some better grades and didn't have to cheat as much. My guest today is Dave Farina. Dave, dude, thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
I came across a TikTok a few weeks ago of your debate with David Weiss.
I saw that somebody had been uploading those.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it's been shared a lot. And so I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
He finally went on a face-to-face debate, and it was very frustrating to watch in the first few minutes when I found it on YouTube, and I had to make some time aside to really sit down and watch the whole thing. But we'll get into that later. First and foremost, I really, really appreciate your YouTube channel. Yeah, man, I really wish I had that as a kid because it would have helped me out tremendously.
Me too. YouTube came out in 2005, which is the year I graduated college. So
Okay.
Unfortunately, my educational experience was done without these resources that I think a lot of kids today either use or rely on even. So
Yeah.
It's totally different than when we grew up.
Yeah, I had to go to the library and do
Yeah.
research and cite my...
Yeah. Or when I was a really little kid, I would, or not even that little, like in middle school, we had like an Encyclopedia Britannica. I would get one of those and look for the thing I have to do my report on, and it's crazy how different
Yeah.
it was when we grew up.
Pray to God that it had the thing you were looking for.
Yeah, which it usually did. I mean, it had pretty much everything in there, but it's just the sheer concept of going to this long big thing of books instead of just typing something into a search bar. It's a complete paradigm shift that separates my generation from, young people today. It's
Yeah.
very different.
Do you think it was much easier then it was much harder for people back then to publish things that were misinformation rather than now?
Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, because to publish something, you had to go through proper channels, and there are safeguards. And obviously anyone can publish literally anything on the internet. So, which has its pros and cons, as we have become intimately familiar with over the past 20, 25 years.
Yeah.
I think we were all a bit disillusioned. I think we all thought, wow, the internet is going to be this great equalizer and democratization of information, and everyone's going to get way smarter. And I think there were some detractors in the back saying, I don't know if that's going to be true. And here we are kind of seeing exactly what the internet is doing. And, it's kind of brought us the post-truth era. And there's a lot of sociological ramifications that are kind of what I try to focus on in my profession, and what I hope other people are going to try to take very seriously and address professionally, or it could be we may not see the 22nd century otherwise. So,
Yeah, especially with California's severe water drought. They seem pretty serious about this, and with everything that's going on with climate change and how the world's changing. Qualifications, like where did you study?
So I did a bachelor's at Carleton College in Minnesota. That was chemistry. And then, so after that, it's a little bit interesting because I never wanted to pursue science. I'm a musician, and all I really wanted to do was be a musician. But for whatever reason, I decided I wanted to study chemistry because I had this opportunity. I was at this great school and great teachers, and I just wanted to learn chemistry. It intrigued me. So I studied chemistry, and then I started graduate school at UC Santa Cruz immediately after, really just as an excuse to move to California. I just was like, I want to go to California, but I don't want to just like show up in California. I need a reason. So I went to UC Santa Cruz, but I joined a band immediately. And so in the second semester there, I was doing synthetic organic chemistry. I quit and we moved to San Francisco, and I was playing in bands there. And I was just kind of teaching chemistry, subbing, tutoring, etc. And then a band there wanted to move to LA. So relocated to LA, got a teaching job at this trade university teaching organic chemistry. That in order to have that job, I had to be concurrently enrolled in a master's program. So I tried organic chemistry again. Lost that job, lost the funding. It's a very long story. We don't even necessarily have to get into. But essentially, chemistry was always just kind of like my way to make money as I pursued music. But then this like SciComm avenue kind of opened up, and I started to take everything a lot more seriously.
Yeah.
And here we are. It's now my bread and butter.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was so bad at chemistry, and I wasn't like the best student.
Mm-hmm.
And I literally was just messing around with my buddy in class, most of the chemistry class, because I just didn't understand it. And the teacher didn't understand why I didn't understand it. And eventually we made a deal where I wouldn't harass him with questions anymore as long as I got a C in the class.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my relationship with chemistry. However, I did watch some of your videos, and there was some light bulbs that kept going, oh, okay, that's explained a lot clearer.
That's the goal, the light bulb moments. And I don't think you should have been, if you were asking earnest questions, I think most teachers like earnest questions. It's really just those obnoxious questions that are not meant, they're not genuine, they're meant to kind of derail the class. That can be annoying. But I as an instructor, I really enjoyed questions when they were genuine. Yeah. And I liked when people had the courage to ask something that they may be perceived as like a dumb question, or, we're in organic chemistry. I shouldn't be asking this. This is a general chemistry question. No, ask it, because if you're having a problem with that concept, we need to clarify that so that you can absorb this information. So everybody ask all your questions. But I'm going to give my teacher the benefit of the doubt and say that they probably weren't the best maybe
questions.
they weren't. Okay.
Yeah. I'm remembering myself from high school, as Zeke probably knows, and I probably wasn't the best student to have in class.
Fair enough.
Yeah. We'll just leave it at that. You have a book out, which this is part of your YouTube channel. You actually have a few debates or discussions with people, or discussions about people who kind of spread this misinformation that's not based on any kind of empirical evidence, and based mainly on either religious beliefs or charlatan kind of snake oil.
There's kind of those two threads. There's religious fundamentalism, which breeds science denial, and then there's just people trying to make a buck and lying about science. And I kind of I started the channel in 2015, and the focus was always just kind of a curriculum-aligned academic tutorials. It's for students in high school and college to pass their classes. That was really always doing. And then in 2019, I kind of got dragged into this vis-a-vis a flat earther interaction, and so I'm sure we're going to get all into that in a minute. But that kind of got me going, and then I found that I had both a talent and a passion for addressing misinformation, exposing charlatans, and making content that explains, these people are lying. Here's why. This is a lie. Here's how we know. This is not just explaining science that people are that people are lying about, but also kind of explaining the motivations and the anatomy of the con, not just why they're choosing certain talking points, but maybe the cognitive biases that cause you to fall for them, like an anti-establishment bias, these kinds of things, right? Here's how we know they're lying. Here's why you probably fell for it. And here's where we can go from here. Right? Yeah. And so a publisher actually reached out and asked if I wanted to write a book. And I thought, I actually do have an idea for a book. And I pitched it to them. And it's just kind of combines the two things that I do on my channel. So it provides essentially very, very basic information in chemistry, biochemistry, biology, and physics, just sort of like summarizing the first year of instruction in that subject, distilled down to like 10, 12 pages, 15 pages, just really fast. Just only the absolutely crucial information, and then I apply that to various cons, and also even just more innocent public confusion regarding certain terminology, words that people misuse, and just sort of clarify certain things from like a sociological standpoint. So that's kind of more the debunking half. So it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Yep.
You mind if I read the back just
Absolutely.
real quick? So if you guys want to get this, you can find it on Amazon and a few other places. It's called Is This Wi-Fi Organic? A Guide to Spotting Misleading Science Online. And Dave Farina, the real science behind health innovations, including medications and vaccines, what energy actually is and how we use it each and every day, a core of scientific knowledge from biochemistry and molecular biology to theoretical physics that will help you pull truths from the weeds of misinformation and outright lies. Yeah. I think that's a great book to have nowadays.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope that. I think it's one of the. I mean, if you ask me, I may be biased, but the premier problem facing humanity is just trying to figure out what's true, particularly in a scientific context. Also political, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found the first time I kind of fell into these misinformation traps were from Facebook posts that people would share.
Yep.
Like saying celery can cure pink eye, and they'll have these like really cool graphics. I don't know, that's just something I made up right now, but like they'll have cool graphics or whatever, and then be like, oh that's awesome, that's cool, like you just grind up the celery into a juice and you just pat it on your eye, you'll be fine.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool, with no scientific thing, and you just share it or you send it to somebody, and it's crazy how quickly that spreads.
Of course, that's true. I saw that somewhere, right?
Yeah.
It's just kind of that. Yeah, I mean, we can use phrases like confirmation bias. I mean, but maybe in your case it was a little bit more innocent, right? Maybe not something that you're basing your identity around. But then there are other people who really truly base their identity around what they perceive as kind of this struggle against authoritarian power, when in reality it's just a narrative that they were peddled, right? The easiest way to get people to fall for something is to tell them that you're like a whistleblower or you're raging against some overarching malicious or malevolent entity, right? And so this can be big anything. It can be the government. It can be big pharma. It can be big science, which doesn't mean anything. And there, an anti-establishment bias I have found is one of the most common threads running through all of these things. Any kind of science denial, anti-vaxxers, these kinds of things, and it's a really popular and attractive narrative. It's an easy route in for charlatans. Your Andrew Wakefields and these people who lie about things like vaccines and lie about any number of things, of things related to science or otherwise. And so that's something that I've sort of unearthed in my investigation of what's going on sociologically with science denial.
I always think about, why are these people doing or thinking or saying what they're doing, and why are they so committed to these groups, to these these flat earth cons that they go to, where it's like a group of them and they start selling like these flat earth models or any kind of conspiracy based idea. And my brother and I were having this conversation. He said, and we pulled something from the conversation, and I believe that these people's self-worth is attached to this perspective on the world, and for them to change that is so jarring that they can't do it, because they went all in, and for them to go, oh man, maybe I was duped, or man, I was an idiot, that's kind of hard for a person to say.
Yeah.
And change their view on the world, especially when they've attached their entire identity and self-worth to that. Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense, and it's undeniably true. I mean, this is something that the thing is that when you look at take like religious fundamentalists. So you're talking about somebody who's had a worldview shoved into their brain from birth, and that can be really, really hard to escape from. And so some people are able to do it, and some people are not. And so for such people, I have a lot of sympathy. But then there are sort of gradations about how much sympathy I can have. You know, somebody who falls for anti-vax points and then they let their identity get wrapped up in raging all of these, raging against vaccines and things like that. I have less sympathy because you've sort of arrived at it out of your own accord and you fell for misinformation. But I still have some sympathy because the propaganda, the anti-vaccine propaganda, can be very convincing. Then you keep going down the ladder, all the way down to the bottom of the ladder, and there sits Flat Earth. It's the one that is the most unforgivable and the one that involves the most blatant science denial. It involves the denial of literally the entire edifice of science. Right. Astronomy is all lies. Geology is all lies. Physics is all lies. Every geologist and physicist and astronomer are liars. They're satanic deceivers, like this kind of stuff. The scope of it. Anti-vaxxers think that they're just going, okay, big pharma is evil and that's it. And so it's a little bit of an infantile narrative, but it's not completely insane that a particular industry would be malevolent.
Yeah.
Right. But if you keep going down, more and more and more science denial, and that's why the intellect of such people also declines as you go down and down the ladder. You could be an anti-vaxxer and be relatively intelligent. You just happen to have been exposed to the wrong information in just a way with the right tone that got under your radar, and then you adopted that and made that part of your identity. But when you get to Flat Earth, you're talking about a denial of naked eye observations and basic logic. Right. This is stuff that doesn't depend on, everybody who follows some kind of misinformation. They all talk about, oh, you've been indoctrinated, right? You've been indoctrinated by the educational system. And the farther down the ladder you go, the more ridiculous that is, because it's not just, oh, the pharma paid for the vaccine trials and pharma paid for this science. Okay, that's silly. That's not quite how science works, but it's not as insane as literally all of the science, including that which is reproducible and observable to anybody with the naked eye. You're going to deny all of that, right? That's why that inhabits that very lowest and unforgivable tier of this ladder of misinformation.
I just want to make a little note for our listeners. I don't want to speak on your behalf, but I come from a religious background, and I'm not. Whenever I say these things, I'm not like totally anti-religious establishment, because I feel like a lot of these, I'm talking about the extremists who go to the extreme end with this type of thinking. I believe like a lot of people who do adhere to some kind of spiritual religious belief are just decent people, and
sure.
And I'm pretty sure that even they have questions about their faith in a healthy way. I don't know the exact numbers, but I just have a problem whenever things get to the point where somebody is shoving their belief system in your face and saying what you're doing is wrong, and it's like, whoa, I didn't ask for this, and then they take it steps further, and it becomes like a really bad problem, like terrorism, ISIS, and then you even have these the Westboro Baptist Church. I don't know if you're familiar with their stuff. They go protest like military funerals and say like 9/11 was punishment from God and all this stuff. Like it's like this extreme way of thinking.
Or try to change the educational system and get religion taught in science class. This is who I'm currently raging against.
Oh, right now?
Yeah. I'm countering this. The Discovery Institute is a religious propaganda mill that wants intelligent design taught in biology class, which is code for religion. But
that's just so inappropriate, because like even if you looked at like, I'm assuming it's like the Christian background.
Yeah, it's Christian fundamentalism.
Yeah, it's, I don't know, man. It's just so insane to me, and this is kind of, I just want to take a couple steps back before we move forward. And I was thinking a lot about these like flat earthers, on why they're so attached to this and why they keep going with it. And it hit me, and I've mentioned this before on the show. It's fun to be part of a group that you think knows something secret that the rest of the world doesn't know. Like when you were a kid, I don't know if you ever like imagined, like for me, oh, I saw a ghost. You would tell your friends.
I saw an alien.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, you saw an alien? Yeah, I saw one. Oh, you saw one too? Yeah, aliens exist. And then you start like looking at the night sky, and then it becomes like an adventure and thing. But then you eventually grow up and you go, I kind of lied about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and in fact, flat earthers do inhabit that infantile space, that infantile prepubescent space mentally, I think. There's a delusional narcissism that is definitely a component. But in the case of the flat earther, it's a delusional narcissism coupled with a severe intellectual deficit, right? So if you're a delusional narcissist, you are Neo in the Matrix, and every flat earther, I kid you not, sees themselves as Neo in the Matrix, and they talk about red pills, and they use that language and even reference the movie The Matrix, because we all know that movies are real. They all see themselves that way. However, when you have a very, very low cognitive ability, which is all flat earthers, the only way to combine that with your delusional narcissism and prop yourself up above the rest of the world is to deny reality, right? In this reality, I'm not worth much. Therefore, in order to be Neo in the Matrix, reality must be wrong.
Yeah.
The entire body of human knowledge must be wrong. I know more than humanity, so everything humanity knows is wrong, even though that's absurd because we can see with our eyes what's going on and we can build technology and all these things.
The on the other end of the grayscale of that kind of mentality is actors who come out to LA who go, oh, well, I didn't get this role because of other people's problems, or this is someone else's fault, or it's my manager's fault, or they blame everything else on the outside world rather than it's like that same kind of mentality, just more on the other end of the scale.
Yeah, a lot more damaging, but perhaps born of a similar narcissistic tendency. Sure.
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely.
Which I'm sure the acting world has a little bit of an excess of. So yeah,
man. How the hell do you break through to someone like that? How because your discussion with David was one of those things where it was, here is the evidence, and he goes, nuh-uh, I don't believe that.
Right, or that's stupid, or let me try to change the subject.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa. And I saw you try to stop him a few times, and then it doesn't happen. And there was one part where literally he didn't have anything to say. I think we were talking about, like, if you were in a car driving for 24 hours a day for 365 days a year.
Veer 1 degree a day.
Veer 1 degree a day.
That's
would you feel
the acceleration he's referencing.
Right.
What would be the magnitude of that acceleration? Right.
And he's just
had nothing to say.
Say. And so that makes me think, like, is there a way to get through these people?
So I need to be very clear about something here. Dave Weiss is a con man. He's a charlatan. All of the flat earthers that have channels, the larger channels, they know that the Earth is a sphere. The globe busters, who are the ones who got me into flat Earth debunking by taking an innocuous video I made, and then they did this live stream where they tried to tear it apart, and then I'm very vindictive, so I did a response to that, and that's my most viewed video on my channel. It has like 10 million views. But they accidentally proved the Earth is a sphere multiple times in a Netflix documentary. Like, they did little experiments with a gyroscope and with the flashlight and everything. And Mark Sargent as well is kind of one of the more popular ones. And they've done like body language studies where professionals observe his body language and know that he's speaking dishonestly. It's a charade, right? They perhaps got into it initially because they were duped, and then they sort of climbed this ladder socially, and they became little celebrities in this little pocket of insanity, and they generate income from it, and they're too deep and they're not going to get out of it. So they're very well aware that it's complete bullshit, but they have this script, and they run the script so that they maintain their status and they maintain their income. So to anyone who, and I was actually a little shocked at how many people commented on that debate on my channel saying, oh, you were too mean, you were too harsh. No, I was not. No, I was not. This is a con man who lies for a living. He's a toxic influence on society. He's a cancer. And I've already made about 8 debunks using naked eye observations and logic a toddler could understand to show anyone beyond a shadow of a doubt that the Earth is a sphere. I've debunked flat Earth to smithereens. So the people who are still on board are those who do not respond to facts. They do not respond to logic. They are impervious to that line of to that strategy, to that approach. So my approach to this debate was to disembowel and humiliate a flat Earth icon to show his followers in real time how pathetic he is. He's a sniveling little toddler, and in order to do that, I deliberately berated him. That was a deliberate choice on my part to reduce him to that state where he would be desperately trying to change the topic, rendered speechless, throwing out, just he looked like a mess. You cannot deny that he looked like a complete mess, out of his element, unable to respond to anything I was saying. And I figured that that ought to have an impact on some percentage of his followers as well.
Yeah.
And so, unfortunately, I don't have the I don't have the ability to have a face-to-face, one-on-one sit-down with every single flat earther in the world and try to use a softer approach and try to get under the psychology of why they're propping this up. I just make videos, right?
Yeah.
It's impersonal, and so I know I'm a bit abrasive, but I want people to understand that this is not two people with differing opinions, right? We're not like just on opposite sides of the political spectrum or something like that. This is basic, irrefutable scientific facts we've known for thousands of years versus someone denying the entire edifice of science for monetary gain and social status. He's a horrible person, and he deserves no respect. He deserves to be treated even far worse than I treated him in that exchange, in my opinion. So,
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think you nailed it on the head in terms of the con man and charlatan aspect of it, because there was a red flag that came up during my discussion with him. In the very beginning, he said he left a 6-figure job to spread the truth about flat Earth. And I go, huh? Couldn't you have done both at the same time?
Yeah, you needed to leave your job to make dumb YouTube videos.
Yeah, like, okay, that's fine. I even stated in the beginning of my video, it was like, I believe it was the new year coming in, and I wanted to try something, honestly. I wanted to learn a little about something that I just always, I assumed the world is a globe and a sphere, and I wanted to, I thought, have a nice talk with somebody who was on the other end of the spectrum. I didn't realize that I made the mistake of thinking like logic would, be a foundation.
What was his demeanor? What was he like?
Well, that's the issue. This is one of the biggest problems of it. He reached out to me, or the podcast, I should say, to come on the show. And we actually had, I was like, I don't know. Like, I've seen some of your videos. They get intense. Not just yours, but like other flat earthers.
They're very toxic. It's a very toxic group.
Yeah, and it just like it was very aggressive. And I'm like, I don't know. That's not really what the show is. And then I had this like pre-interview, just a pre-talk with him on Skype or something, and he seemed a little different from how he seems whenever he's pitching. I was like, oh, he seems
a little more reasonable.
Well, yeah. You know what I mean? And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to get out of my comfort zone. I'm going to try to grow as a person, maybe have a debate. I'm not a debater on a topic I don't know much about. I'll do some research. I'll see if if he has answers to like moon phases, how does that work? Or, how the actual flat earth model doesn't really
do anything.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, especially on the sun.
Correlate with reality or observation in any way, shape, or form.
Right, and then I also want to talk to him like some other like silly conspiracy theories, like Bigfoot, or like aliens, if you wanted to, because I think we were on a Bigfoot tangent for a while on the show, if I'm not mistaken. I'm kind of hoping Bigfoot's still out there, probably not, but and then when we did the interview, as it was progressing along, I was like, I don't know if I'm communicating well for him. Like, I don't know if I'm relaying my message clearly to him, because he keeps just going and going, or like he'll just brush something to the side. And I'm like, whoa, wait, we didn't talk about that. And then he just keep going. I'm like,
that's the gish gallop. And
right.
So that is why a very, very aggressive approach is the only one that works with these people.
Yeah.
Because if you allow them, they will jump to any topic they can and evade direct questions. So there are many moments in that exchange, and honestly, I could have done it quite a bit more. But there were multiple moments in my exchange where I said, you didn't answer what I just asked you. Why are you trying to change the subject? Or, very transparently, are you trying to change the subject because you don't have an answer to what I just said? To the point where I got him to verbally admit, yes, I'd like to change the subject, right? Just because you can't answer what I'm asking you.
And then there was an oh shit moment for me during the show where I asked him, I believe this was a while ago. I asked him something about the moon phases, like how does that work? And then he didn't have an answer for me. I go, okay, wait a minute. Do you not see, just from my perspective, how since you don't have an answer for it, it's hard for me to adopt your point of view on this? And he goes, no. And I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
I'm talking to a brick wall
You are
here.
indeed talking
Oh
to a brick wall.
no. This is, oh God.
But
this is not good.
But it's not just a cognitive bias, it's a devotion to a script of lies. Right? He's trying to, the reason he reached out to you, and who knows however many other outlets, is he wants platforms to evangelize, right? He's trying to spread this as far as possible and gain notoriety in his little pathetic little world of flat earth icons. He wants to be, you know, as any of them do. There's a few of them that kind of vie for supremacy and be the top, I'm the best flat earther, which is
That's the
most pathetic thing that I could ever imagine.
Can we get a shirt of that?
Yeah.
Can that be merch?
You know what? Let's make that merch.
I'm the best flat earther.
But the funniest part about it is that every time one of them is humiliated or discredited. So I made that video responding to these guys, the Globe Busters, and then immediately it rippled through the community, them going, oh, Globe Busters is controlled opposition, they're shills, right? I humiliated Dave Weiss, I just eviscerated him. Dave Weiss is a joke, you need to debate, blah, blah, blah. It's just this whack-a-mole game where for months, every day, dozens of people, you would never debate Dave Weiss, he'd wreck you, blah, 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 blah. And so when Sean Atwood's channel reached out to me, I was like, okay, he's got like 700K subscribers, so I could get a little exposure, and I'll humiliate this guy that everyone's been telling me, oh, you can't debate him. I'll annihilate him. Honestly, I have no idea why he agreed to it. He had to, on some level, know that what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Maybe just because I've done so few debates, he didn't know.
Yeah.
Like what was going to happen. But I was like, yeah, I'll kill that guy. That's fine.
Yeah.
Let's do that. And now, like clockwork, oh, he's not good. You have to debate this guy. You debate that guy. It's like they all say the same things, you guys.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, I just want to land on one final thing, and then we'll move on from this
Sure.
because I feel like we've talked enough about these kind of charlatans. Who knows? We might stay on it. I don't know. But so the demeanor was different during the actual interview, and I was like, oh man, this guy's okay. Maybe he's putting on a thing. And then the comments started coming in.
Live or
afterwards?
On YouTube.
On YouTube.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, man. I was very nice and respectful to him. I didn't call him any names. And he started calling me names in the comments below. His little followers started calling me comments and names in the comments below. And hey, I don't respond well to that. And I don't respond at all because
It's for the best. Don't get embroiled.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I'm so blessed in my life. Like this talking with him had as much value as a carnival game for me.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I'm living my dream. I get to do this awesome show. I'm an actor on television. I get to take care of my family. I have a very blessed life. Like I don't deal when people start like saying names and saying all these bad things about me and like this show and everything. I'm like, whoa. And by the way, they're super obsessed with views. I don't know if you've ever read those comments. Alex was telling me like he keeps bringing up views, and he actually brought it up during your debate a couple times. Like, oh, they really are obsessed with views. They're like, yeah, your 10 million view video on that one, your 9 million view on that
Fake
one.
views, fake subscribers.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh wow, you guys are obsessed with that because they're making money, and he knows that, like, oh, you're making money from me and stuff like that.
Yeah, wouldn't you know it that it's a lot more lucrative to make fun of flat earthers than to be one, because there's a lot more sane people that like to watch flat earthers getting dunked on.
Yeah, I will say this.
Yeah.
I was very nice to him during the whole thing, and I could have been a lot meaner. And for those of you who even made it to the end, there was at some point at the end, which I wanted to bring back up on this. He, towards the end, said something to the fact of being called a flat earther nowadays is like being called the N-word.
I mean, I can't find a context in which that's accurate. I mean, other than that, it's derogatory.
It's the most, and I was like, oh, dude, like, whoa, 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 you're you're off the deep end right now.
Mm-hmm.
You play this much of a victim, like you've held yourself in this kind of regard. Nah, that's not the kind of people I want in my life, or even people I want to talk to.
Nobody came to steal you away from your homeland and force you to be a flat earther.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. It's very inappropriate, and I'm like, okay, that's it. So that's why I've never asked him to come back on. I won't ask him to come back on. We don't respond to those comments, and we don't like to associate with people like that here on the show, because that's so extremist behavior and off the deep end that's not who
that's
I am or we are or anything like that.
I kind of forgot, just because I've been dealing with these people for about 3 years now, and I know who they are, and they're the most toxic, xenophobic, they're really awful, awful people.
Yeah.
And so when people who are just like, flat earth, is that a thing? And then they see me calling Weiss a moron in the exchange, which I did multiple times, they're like, that's mean. And it's like, dude, you gotta, I understand that you aren't aware of like what's going on here, but don't tone police me for saying the word moron. You don't know who these people are. They're awful, awful people.
Yeah.
And this is what they deserve. I mean, we have to stop treating people like that as though they have equal footing, like it's just two people squabbling about some petty thing that they differ in opinion on. It's not like that.
No,
it's completely different.
No, absolutely.
So.
Well, listen, in the future, if you ever want to do a live debate, We Sam's World would be more than happy to host a live one, like in person, whether it be about flat Earth or something completely
Probably
else.
Something else.
Yeah.
I've been trying to put flat Earth down for a while now, and I keep getting dragged back to it. But yeah.
Is there anything you'd like to like debate other than that, or like something to do with like the universe or chemistry?
Well, the thing is, so I'm not equipped to debate like the frontier of science. That's for scientists to do. I just report science. I report to the public, things about science. So yeah, I'm not like going to do a debate about like what dark matter is. I don't know what it is. I mean, astrophysicists should be having that debate. And in fact, they don't do it because that's not really how science works. Scientists don't debate. They publish research and then, but in terms of what I do, like I try to push back against misinformation. As I said, right now the primary thing I'm doing is I'm going after Christian fundamentalism, and like this place, the Discovery Institute. So I started a series where I'm debunking all of their primary contributors, which are these people who just lie about science. They lie about evolutionary biology. They lie about every field that they can to try to poke holes in science so that their followers will reject science and adopt their fundamentalism or maintain it, let's say, rather, because they have a very specific target demographic. So I've taken it upon myself to, because not too many people are doing it, because they try to do this very sophisticated propaganda which parades itself as real science and show that it is not. So I make content based on that, and perhaps I will debate such figures in the future.
Absolutely. Well, let's talk about the stuff that I'm actually really excited to talk to you about.
Okay.
You do a few videos on the Big Bang and just space in general, and that's something that's always kind of astounded me. I remember the first time I went to I don't know, have you ever been to a Joshua Tree? Saw the Milky Way there for the first time ever. I was have you guys ever seen the Milky Way?
It's crazy,
bro.
Yeah.
You're so cool about. You're like, I saw the Milky Way.
There we are. We're right in the middle of all that.
That's insane to me to think that and that's only the visible stars. There's so many more out there.
Sure, yeah, we can only with the naked eye, certainly can only see a very tiny, our little neighborhood of the galaxy. Yeah.
Are there things that there's the James Webb telescope has just come out, and that's gonna start taking a lot better pictures than the Hubble telescope, if I'm not mistaken. Correct? Is there anything from that you're excited that they're gonna find or discover?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I'm not following it too closely, but my understanding is that the two main goals are very, very early universe cosmology. So looking at even so far, because the interesting thing about astronomy is that the farther you look, the farther back in time you're looking. right? So the more because of the limited speed of light, right? If you're looking 10 billion light years away, you're looking 10 billion years into the past. So as we develop more and more powerful telescopes and we're seeing farther and farther away, we're able to visualize early galaxies. And we're seeing what they looked like at that time because of how far away they are. We're literally looking back in time, which is incredible. And so these more powerful telescopes like James Webb is kind of pushing that limit of how far back in time, how far away, and therefore how far back in time we're able to see. So we're getting more information about the earliest era of star and galaxy formation. So that's one main thing. And then I believe the other thing is that they're focusing on exoplanet detection, finding new exoplanets, so planets around other stars. That really interests me a lot because I'm very interested in like origin of life science and the astrobiology and the potential of finding worlds that could be hospitable to some form of life, and just getting more information about that. So I really enjoy learning about new exoplanet discovery and what are these places like? What are the stars like that they orbit, and what's the planet like? What are the features of the atmosphere? We can use spectroscopic techniques. We analyze the light, and we can get some information about what kind of substances are there. Is there water, carbon dioxide, ammonia? Like what is over there? You know? And it's astounding that we can get even any information like that of things that are so far away. But that's what's really incredible. One of the many incredible things about astronomy, astrophysics, these fields.
Yeah. I got a question, though, because this is something I'm still trying to wrap my mind around. It's hard for me to fully understand. I understand that light takes a long time to get from large distances.
Yeah.
But can you see it on this or not really on here? We'll just use it on here. We'll just use it on here. Okay. So let's say like the Big Bang has happened, right?
Okay.
And our galaxy ends up here, right, with our solar system. And there's another galaxy that we're looking at that's right there. Wouldn't the time that everything took, this is so hard for me to even verbalize. So the Big Bang happens, our galaxy starts forming, we start forming here, right?
Okay.
So man, this is so hard to wrap my mind. I feel like
how does the light get to us? But why? Because of the expansion of the universe? Or?
Yeah, like shouldn't we be? It's the timing of everything that I'm confused about.
Okay.
So the actual Big Bang how long did that take? Because that's the time frame which I'm having trouble understanding. I understand that it takes a long time for that light to get there, but when did that galaxy start forming for us to see it start forming?
Yeah, I understand. So this is probably the main misconception held by or not even misconception, but just most lay people don't have a basic understanding of the model, and so it's hard to wrap your head around. Okay, there was a bang, and then why are there stars and galaxies now? When in actuality, a lot happened. It took millions of years for stars and galaxies to form. There's a lot that happened, and so I'm not a cosmologist by any means, but we're talking about an initial singularity, and Big Bang is just a term. Actually, Fred Hoyle coined it kind of facetiously, like, oh, you're talking, once this science started coming around, he termed it, he said Big Bang kind of as a joke, and it just kind of stuck. It's a kind of interesting feature of the physics, astrophysics community. They like to use the, dark matter and these kind of terms. But anyway, we're talking about an initial singularity, and then Big Bang cosmology is the model that describes sort of how the for lack of a better term, evolution of the universe from that initial singularity. And so we don't see matter as we know it for a very long time. First, it's insanely hot, and then in the very first epochs, which are the tiny fractions of a second, we're talking about symmetry breakings, where you have a grand unified force that splits into the fundamental forces that we know, strong nuclear force, weak nuclear force, electromagnetism, and gravity. And so we're able to kind of probe that earliest epoch with, not the earliest, but one of the earliest epochs with particle accelerators. We can recreate energies that are nearly as high as somewhere around that first trillionth of a second after the initial singularity,
Whoa.
and show empirically what kind of particles, what kind of force-carrying particles could have existed at that time. And so that corroborates our models, theoretical models about particles and stuff like that. And but then so the thing is that it gets cooler and cooler and cooler from 10 to the 32 Kelvin or something insane like that, and gets cooler and cooler and cooler to the point where more particles are able to exist in a stable way. So quarks begin to be able to exist some time period after the initial singularity. And then it becomes a little cooler, and quarks are able to come together to form baryons like protons and neutrons. And then it gets a little cooler, and those are able to fuse like they do in a star right now, but the whole universe was this hot. So they call this Big Bang nucleosynthesis. There was a period of, I forget, 17 minutes or something, I don't know how long it was, that fusion was happening. And so we got a bunch of helium and a little bit of lithium, a little bit of other things.
So I don't mean to stop you, but like, how do they know like it was 17 minutes? Like is it calculations?
Calculations, just math, yeah. And I don't know how these calculations work myself, but essentially, I mean, you can calculate you can calculate a temperature above which these particles are not even able to form because it's too hot, and then you can know certainly a temperature below which fusion cannot occur.
Okay.
We certainly know the temperature at which nuclear fusion can occur. So you have this margin, and then I don't really know how they figure out the time. Yeah, I don't really know that.
That's okay. That's totally
Yeah.
fine. But I'm just amazed because, you know, growing up, you just know that the smallest thing is an atom with like protons, neutrons, and
Well,
electrons.
hopefully no one taught you that, because certainly well before we were born, we knew that was not the case.
I grew up in Oklahoma, and that was
Well, not an atom, but maybe you meant protons, neutrons, electrons.
Yeah. That's what the smallest thing is. But
An electron is a very, very small particle, yes.
yeah. So, but there's stuff smaller than that.
Well, I mean, protons and neutrons are comprised of quarks. Now, I don't know whether we would consider quarks or electrons larger. I don't even know if that's a question that makes sense. But yes, we know now the composition of baryons, which are quarks. But I think my understanding is, so we talk about this soup of quarks and leptons was sort of this first era. I don't know if you would call it like a millionth of a second after the Big Bang or 1 second after, but this was the paradigm, sort of a quark and lepton soup. And then as it cooled even a bit more, then you were able to have protons and neutrons. And then it cools very slowly over thousands of years. You get finally stable atoms. So electrons are able to couple with nuclei, with hydrogen and helium nuclei, to form actual atoms for the first time. And that was something around 380,000 years after the Big Bang, something like that. And this was actually the moment where this was the recombination era. And so this is what created the cosmic microwave background radiation, which is something that we look at to learn things about the universe. Because the thing is, light is emitted when electrons move between energy levels in an atom. And so this can only happen once electrons are coupled with atomic nuclei, which can only happen, again, below a certain temperature. So it took this length of time for the temperature to decrease enough that it was cool enough for stable atoms to form and thus emit photons. And that's the CMB that we're talking about. And then it continued still. So now you've got hydrogen and helium in all these clouds all over the place, and then by gravitational influence they start to collect, and once a very large mass of gas is compressed in this very small space, then nuclear fusion is triggered and you've got a star. So stars began to be born some a million years, some millions of years, I forget the exact numbers, but that's the origin of stars and galaxies. It was once, first of all of this hydrogen and helium existed, and then was able to condense and form stars and galaxies for the first time.
Dude, so, I just got my PhD. That's what I feel like right now.
No, that's like a month of Astro 101. Yeah. I took a couple of Astro courses as an undergrad, like maybe 2 or 3, but and this is what you learn.
Do you, when I hear this kind of stuff, does it get you excited?
Very much. I mean, astronomy is one of my absolute favorite fields. In fact, if I had to go back and do more school, I'd probably do astronomy or astrophysics in some kind, but I never will because I'm a generalist now, so I like to learn a little bit about everything.
Right.
So
it's hard. sometimes for my mind to wrap around the vastness of how big things are
Sure.
outside of our world.
You and everyone else, it's mind-boggling.
Yeah, especially like I saw that photo from, I believe it was from Saturn of the Earth, and it's like this tiny little dot, or I forget from where.
Sure.
And there was this great quote. It's like the entire history of all the world and its problems are comprised in this little photo.
Tiny little dot, yeah.
And I was like,
It's probably
whoa.
Sagan, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just within our own solar system, which is, you know, our sun is one of something like 10 billion stars in this galaxy, in the Milky Way galaxy, which is one of hundreds of billions of galaxies at least. We
Yeah.
don't really know how many there are.
This is a live view, just so you know.
Yeah.
So
So these
satellite.
are just stars,
Yeah.
presumably. So this would be just kind of floating around within a galaxy. But we can see way past it. And in fact, that's what Edwin Hubble did. His great discovery was to see that our little island of stars, or the stars that we see, are but one little island
Oh,
of,
yeah.
of many other stars.
Yeah, there it is.
Or many other galaxies, I should say.
That's nuts.
Cassini.
Now, this is the terrifying thing that I learned a while ago, is that these supermassive black holes in the center of every galaxy. And what do we know for sure happens in the middle of these black holes?
Oh, I don't think we know anything about what happens in the middle of the black holes.
Yeah.
We know how they form. We know what their gravitational influence is on the things around them. We even know about Hawking radiation and how they dissipate and die over insanely long timescales. So we know a lot about black holes, but I don't think that anyone would be so bold as to say that they know what happens within the event horizon. Perhaps I'm wrong, but I
Yeah.
certainly am not aware of any information there.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that no information can escape. We will never receive information from within the event horizon of a black hole. It's physically impossible.
Yeah.
So we don't really know.
Do you have
But
any like theories or guesses?
I do not. I mean, I think that there's a lot of kind of conjecture out there. There's people who talk about white holes, and you know, if you go somehow survive going through the singularity, you pop out somewhere else in the universe, and there's a little bit of math there to support those kinds of things, but I believe it's largely speculative.
Yeah.
But no, me personally, I try to stay away from. I try to stick to explaining what scientists know to the public, right?
Right.
And to the degree of certainty that we know it.
Absolutely.
The rest is their job.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Any mysteries of the universe that, or like things that just get you really excited? I know like exoplanets and stuff like that. But
Yeah, I love learning about exoplanets and seeing all the discoveries there. Obviously, the frontier of astrophysics is wrapped up in dark matter and dark energy are kind of where we want to know what's up with those. We want to know what dark matter is.
Yeah.
I think the public does not fully appreciate the strong lines of evidence that support the existence of dark matter.
What is it?
So dark matter is just matter that does not interact with light. So it has this really kind of sexy, mysterious name, and I kind of wish that astrophysicists wouldn't do that, because it leads to science denial. Because you have no idea how often I get like, oh, dark matter, that sounds stupid, and blah, blah, blah. Right. If they called it non-baryonic matter, you wouldn't know or care about it. Right. It's just that it has this kind of, they gave it this because they're fun. I don't know, astrophysicists are a little whimsical. They call them quarks, up, down, charm, strange, charm, quark, strange, quark. They call, it's a James Joyce quote, the 3 quarks for muster mark. They have these kind of whimsical, they have this whimsy about them when they name things, because they like to have fun. But unfortunately, the public has a hard time interfacing with this stuff. But it's not that weird, the concept of matter that does not interact with light, right? Because matter that interacts with light is baryonic matter, so like atoms, right? Atoms interact with light because you've got an atomic nucleus and you've got electrons, and when an electron absorbs a photon, it gets excited, goes to a higher energy state, and when it relaxes back down, it emits a photon. And if we see that photon that it emitted, we see the object. If that photon hits our eyeballs, you can see it. So that's the phenomenon of vision, right? Something that is emitting photons. So if something does not have an atomic structure, then it's not going to emit photons, and you can't see it. It doesn't emit light, and so it's really not that weird. The question is, what is it? So some people have all of these ideas about, they call them WIMPs or machos, weakly interacting massive particles. They have ideas of these kind of more exotic particles they could be. Some people think it's just a bunch of microscopic black holes or whatever it is. But we certainly know that they're there. And it's not just because of rotational velocities, anomalies in stars rotating around galaxies. So there's some weird stuff there, but also gravitational lensing is this phenomenon by which light bends around massive objects, and we see gravitational lensing around seemingly empty space, right? And so we're talking about matter. We can calculate how much mass is there that we cannot see, and we know that light is bending around it. So there are many separate threads of evidence supporting the existence of dark matter. We just don't know what it is. And so that's what astrophysicists are trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So sorry to interrupt. That is our time on Adobe.
Oh, thank you for tuning in live. We appreciate you guys. The talk continues on. Just make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. Thank you for tuning in. Again, Dave's book is This Wi-Fi Organic? And you can find
Hold
it
it
on
up.
Amazon. Yeah.
Hold it.
Oh,
Show him. Show him.
there you go. At Dave Explains. Check out his YouTube channel, Professor Dave Explains. And thanks for tuning in live. Yeah. I don't know. I'm hoping it's like, I don't know what it would be.
Nobody does. If you did, you'd get a Nobel Prize.
Really?
Sure. Whoever figures out what dark matter is,
Yeah.
they'll get a Nobel Prize.
Let's do it.
I think. Let's get on it. What are you doing today?
Are you planning on writing any more books?
Not immediately.
Yeah.
Maybe. I really just did that to kind of add author to the resume.
Yeah.
It was a very, very easy book to write. I wrote it in about 2 months because it's just sort of an assemblage of talking points I'd already been throwing around on the channel and obviously basic science information, which I know off the top of my head, and so it was a very, very, very easy book to write. Sales are not such that I'm encouraged to write another book. Not exactly selling a lot of those things.
Yeah.
I've sold, I don't know, between 1,000 and 2,000 copies. I mean, it's I'm proud of
great.
it. I'm proud of the book, but it was real. I knew I wasn't gonna like make a lot of money. It was just like, I'm gonna write a book so that I wrote a book. I'm a guy that wrote a book, and I can maybe go on. Once I start doing a lot more public speaking engagements, pandemic permitting, it's just a little more padding. It's a little
Absolutely.
more notoriety. I author of such and such.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't pretend that this is any masterpiece of writing. It's just some stuff that I say in book form, and but it has value definitely if you are someone that is looking to gain the very basics about these pillars of science from scratch. It assumes zero prior knowledge and breaks it down as simply as is physically possible.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Are you still playing music?
Yes. So that's kind of the end goal here, is just to generate enough passive income to fund art. And I have a project called Simulated Sun. So I put out an EP in 2019 and am sort of planning the next phase of that now. The pandemic kind of put a wrench in that. So I just really, really hunkered down and focused on the channel and nothing else for the last few years. But yes, this year I'm trying to transition back to having that be at least half of my focus.
Oh, that's great, man.
Yeah.
What do you play in it?
In that I play synth and sing. I've been a drummer in most projects I've ever been in, but I grew up as a classical pianist, and I'm really, really into heavily synth-driven music. And so I knew that in my own project I'd want to front. I had never fronted a project.
Yeah.
So in mine I do, and I'm the little synth wizard guy, and
Awesome.
sing and write everything, and yeah.
When can we expect maybe to?
I hope to play out within this year.
Yeah.
Small shows. My focus is a lot more on the live aspect than recording.
Mm-hmm.
Although obviously I want to record as well. But I really want to do something different with live music. In particular in the genres that I'm interested in, I've noticed a really firm switch towards kind of a press play mentality. So people that play synth-driven rock music, there's a lot of backing tracks There's a lot of just textures and layers that are not being performed, including even drums, percussion, and backing vocals and things like that. And you just have 1 or 2 people or 3 people on stage playing some of the parts, playing a guitar part, singing the lead vocal, or doubling the lead vocal even in some cases. And I really want to return to like how live music was done in like the 70s.
Yeah.
Like a Zeppelin, or or like a Frank Zappa is a big hero of mine. I'd like to be the Frank Zappa of electronic rock, basically, you know. And just hire really, really talented players, write these kind of odd compositions, and just have that all performed 100% live, and try to weird people out.
Oh man, I'm
Yeah.
really excited for this.
Mm-hmm.
There's recently, I mean, how does your taste in music vary?
I mean, I definitely have a wide appreciation for a lot of genres.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's this 70s like Japanese funk band. But it's not funk, it's more like like rock-ish. Well, let me figure out the name. Oh, here we go. Oh man. Kikaguku Moyo.
Sounds cool.
It's like, we could play this, I'm sure, right? Probably not.
Is he an established artist?
I forget. YouTube has stupid rules. You know what? Let's not play it, just in case. We don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we? We might have to bleep that out a little bit.
Bookmark it for later.
We'll be fine. We'll be fine. All right.
That
cool.
was about 2 seconds, so that wasn't too much, but yeah.
Great. It's called Smoke and Mirrors by Kikagaku Moyo. Anyway, they're pretty cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
I will be sure to check it out.
I think you
I-
botched that name.
I butchered it. Okay. Yeah. Of course I did. You're from Italian heritage. You had some videos on that. That's
Yep.
great. Have you ever got to visit?
All the time, every year growing up.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm actually going in June.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Everything okay over there with the COVID?
Yeah. At least in my family, my whole extended family is there.
Yeah.
And it was pretty rough at first. Yeah, but
Yeah.
everything seems to be pretty stable now,
Yeah.
as far as I'm aware. Mhm.
Yeah. Man, the whole beginning of this COVID thing, that was nuts, man. I didn't think I'd experience something like that in my lifetime.
Yeah, the first 3 months or so were, I think, really hard on everybody.
Mm-hmm.
They were hard on me. I don't want to complain too much because I'm I'm in the 99th percentile of unaffected by COVID. My income actually grew instead of, losing a job or, having any kind of employment troubles. I work from home.
Yeah.
Whatever. So definitely no complaints. But sure, psychologically, we all had something to work through.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Going back to Italy, I visited Roma for a little bit. Oh my gosh, there's some Mediterranean cities along the coast as well.
Mhm.
Absolutely beautiful country. Beautiful
Naples,
country.
probably.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Very beautiful.
Yeah, I love it. I didn't. I was kind of a little brat as a kid, and I didn't really appreciate it. We went every year, and so it wasn't. Obviously, we went to some really interesting places, but my memory of it was just kind of like being at my grandparents' house playing solitaire. Just like kind of when are we going to do something fun? And but now, going back as my wife had never been out of the country, so I took her there honeymoon. We went to Italy and Morocco, but we spent some time there, and
Nice.
now bringing we're bringing our son over there to meet my extended family.
Oh,
In
great.
June, yeah. Big kind of family reunion thing, and not really a reunion, but like big family event like we used to do when I was a kid, and I just have such a greater appreciation for it now. I really adore Italy in a way that I don't know if it was the lack of emotional maturity or just whatever. I was a kid, but now I really, really appreciate it. The culture, the cuisine, obviously. It's the best. I can't wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you ever really appreciate anything when you were a kid?
I suppose not, but I mean, I appreciated the dumb stuff that mattered to me at the time, like the Nintendo games, and I don't know. Who knows? But
Yeah, I think that's most
I'm a
kids.
different person now. Yeah.
Of course you are.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Mhm.
Otherwise,
Yeah, that'd be weird if I was still 14-year-old mentality.
well,
Mhm.
you'd be in some conspiracy group probably.
I might be a flat earther.
Listen, man, this was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Same
I had a
here.
really good time. I'm actually really excited to get this book started, and I appreciate what you do. Seriously.
Thank you.
I know I mentioned that briefly in the beginning, but I sincerely mean that. I really wish I had something like your channel growing up, especially in school, because the education system where I grew up in wasn't the best.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a lot of trouble with math, had a lot of trouble with science and, chemistry. And especially as it got further along, some teachers were great, some teachers weren't.
That's right.
And I don't want to put fault on them, but it's just the way the system was. And so I highly, highly recommend for anybody watching this, if you yourself are in school or you have nieces, nephews, kids who are in high school, middle school, studying this stuff, please check out Professor Dave's channel. It really does help. It really explains things in a really coherent way. And do you do private tutoring as well? Do you offer that, or
Not really.
Okay.
I sort of quickly realized that my time is better spent working on content that will generate me passive income.
Absolutely.
So, and I'm glad I did that, because now 7 years in, it's a very enviable amount of passive income. That's a lot more than any kind of active income. There's no, the amount I would have to charge tutoring on an hourly basis to earn the same that I earn now passive is excessive. So,
Great.
yeah.
Well, think about it. If you do want to do a live debate with any kind of the people, the
Mhm.
religious fundamentalists you were explaining,
Mm-hmm.
we're more than welcome to host it.
Very cool.
So, yeah. Anything else you want to plug before we go?
Nope, channel in the book, and Simulated Sun if you want to get me a couple views on there,
Absolutely.
because I'm doing pretty well on Professor Dave Explains, but the music is always a challenge
Yeah.
to get people on board with your artistic endeavors. That's why Professor Dave Explains, oh thank you, was so shocking.
Is that you?
That's me. Yeah, you can scroll down. There's a few screenshots from music videos and things like that.
Whoa.
That's the EP album cover, or the EP cover.
Can we play some of it?
Sure. Why don't you play? Here, let's do the video though, because it's more fun. Yeah. Here's
Yeah.
my Tannhauser Gate music video, which is it's sort of a love letter to Blade Runner, the movie Blade
Yeah.
Runner.
Oh yeah, actually, you might have to go in your laptop and say sound.
Yeah.
So even if you can't hear it
we'll
visually,
play it.
I played all the characters in Blade Runner, and
Oh, even the geisha?
I did the geisha.
I
That
was about
me.
to do it.
That
I was about
me.
to say something. I was like,
That was
wait a
me.
minute. Wait a minute.
Yep. I did Deckard, and I did all Terrell, and
Oh, that's great. Oh, we're definitely going to play this. Yeah. Oh, man, dude, this is super creative. Hold on, we're not leaving right now. You got some time?
Sure,
No,
sure.
because I want to talk about this. Who produced this for you?
So the oh my god, Ravens View Media. I worked with them on this. Yeah, I had the concept. I said I want to do Blade Runner. I want to play everyone in Blade Runner. Let's do it. And so from the production side, this was all them. All the lighting tricks and they got the wardrobe and everything. So they knocked this out of the park. The models at the beginning with the
Yeah.
overview. When they showed me that, I was like, you guys are killing it right now.
What's the media company?
Ravens View. Oh my God, I really hope I'm not screwing that up. In fact, here, go to the description here. I just want to make sure I'm not getting that wrong. ravensviewfilm.com if you want to give some love to the people who made this incredible video for me for a shockingly low amount of money.
Dude, this is as soon as it was playing, I was like, oh shit, this is like legit. Because sometimes we live in the day and age where people
Sure.
are like, oh, I've got a music video,
have a
and you're
band,
or like I have a script, and you're
I
like,
don't
all right,
blame
let's
you
see
at
it.
all.
But then
Yes.
when you see something that has like legit production value, I'm like, great, let's see it.
This is why I've devoted myself to getting passive income from my YouTube channel, because I need to be able to support my family, but also have disposable income to invest in music, because it costs money to record and do
Absolutely.
music videos and stuff. And I just got really tired in my 30s being in all these bands, and I was in a band that was like signed and touring, and we're doing great, but we just it just didn't quite work out, and I couldn't be a broke musician anymore. I needed to figure out a way to make money.
Yeah.
And now I have money, and I'm going to use it to make art. So
Yeah, dude, I'm very happy. We'll
Sorry,
get
I
to-
think the Wi-Fi has like quit in Adobe for a second, so it's actually playing right now. I'm adding it in later.
Oh, you're gonna
It's
play it?
yeah, it's
Okay.
playing right now.
Well, let's see if
Just-
it gets
yeah.
up again, and then we'll play the video and stuff, because it actually looks legit. I want to make sure we play it on air. Dude, it must have been a lot of work doing the video.
the video, I mean, it was a lot of work for them. It was a little, I was in it the whole time, so I had to, you're an actor. I mean, I had to be the actor in the movie, but The production obviously was quite a lot more work. They had to track down.
course.
They got they were speaking with people that were involved on the Blade Runner production and getting information about how they lit scenes and stuff. They tracked down, I think the Deckard jacket is, I don't, was it an original, like they found props that were either replicas of original props or something like that. Like they killed it. I mean, they they did incredible.
Dave, you're underplaying this so much. This is like that's amazing.
Yeah, I'm very proud of the video. Yeah.
Wow, man. They actually called the people and be like, "Hey, what kind of like?"
Yeah, they contacted people that worked on Blade Runner, and you know, these people, they're people who work in production. Obviously, they're not like getting fan mail every day, so they're like, "Wow, a fellow, you know, somebody involved doing what I'm doing." That has questions for me, and it's kind of, you know, many I'm sure were happy to oblige and just say, this is how we shot that scene, or this is the lighting we used on that scene. And they came up with a bunch of really cool ways, like when I'm driving, when I'm driving in what's supposed to be the hover car, it's just my car, or I don't know, it wasn't my car, it was somebody's car, and then they have like they made these fans in front of like blue lights that make the light do interesting things, and yes, that's me. I'm the on the geisha there. But these models are incredible. I mean, this is when they showed me that they made those, I was like, you guys are like, I'm hard to, like, I have pretty high standards.
Right.
And so usually I'm like, okay, that's good enough. It's so rare that I'm like, this is so much better than I expected it to be. Yeah.
So I was listening. I was just that's my personal hotspot. So if you want to just hook up, and the password is right there, and you know how to do hotspot stuff, right? I turned the hotspot on my phone. Dude, that's really impressive. This is great. No, we're gonna make sure we use this as the clip for the show. We're gonna use a couple clips for this just to promote it.
This needs promotion a lot more than Professor Dave explained. So I'll gladly take that.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say the other side. No.
My YouTube channel is doing just fine.
Yeah,
I don't need any help with that. But this, I will need all the help I can get. Yeah.
Here's why. Like any type of legit production, or whenever you put effort into doing something creative in a technically proficient way, takes a lot of work, takes a lot of thinking, takes a lot of trial and error, and
money a lot of times.
Yeah, a lot of money. I did a music video for my brother, and that cost thousands and thousands of dollars. Like I directed it. I was like, oh, I want to direct. You know, I want to get my foot in the door with directing. And dude, I spent 3 months prepping for it.
Yep.
For a 3-minute video.
Yeah.
You know. Oh, here we go.
Should it be playing right now?
Yeah, this is.
I mean, I'm connected to the TV.
Yeah, we've had trouble with the HD. It's all good though. No
we
worries.
can just watch.
We can just watch, and then Peyton. Yeah, we'll figure it out.
And then you got to go to my the Simulated Sun YouTube channel if you want to hear the song. It's a good song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty.
I wrote it, and I wrote it, and I just had. Sometimes for lyrics, I kind of just write down things, little phrases and words that I think are cool.
Whoa.
And I just had Tannhauser Gate written down because Roy has this great monologue, right? It's one of the most epic monologues of all time, all of cinematic history. I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
I've seen C-beams glittering off the shoulder of Orion. Attack ships on fire off the shoulder of Orion. I've seen C-beams glittering at the Tannhauser Gate. And now all of these moments are lost in time, like tears in rain. Which, by the way, he wrote that. He either wrote it or he tweaked it. He wrote "Lost in Time" like "Tears in Rain," which is one of the most incredible lines. And like that is so great. But I always wondered, Tannhauser Gate. What the hell is the Tannhauser Gate? What is that? So I had that written down, and so I had this song. It was kind of like a little LCD sound system, but like a little more, a little even synthier. And I just started going, Tannhauser Gate. What's going on at the Tannhauser Gate? And I was like, we're doing a Blade Runner song, and I used Roy. The chorus is the Lost in Time like Tears in Rain, but I make it epic, and it's just I'm talking about Roy. It's a love letter to Roy Batty specifically.
Oh, wow.
And there's Tyrell, there's Roy. I mean, it's obviously a little bit like I'm not taking myself too seriously.
Of course, no.
it's
I don't
a little.
think Blade Runner in general takes itself too seriously.
Well, I take Blade Runner very seriously. I mean, it's one of my favorite movies of all time, and I think certainly one of the inarguably one of the best sci-fi movies of all time.
Did you like the new one?
I did. I liked it a lot. Yeah.
Visually, absolutely gorgeous.
Visually stunning, unbelievable. Obviously, it can never really dethrone the original, but I thought they did a great work with it.
Oh, this is great, man.
Where'd you shoot this?
This part's Chinatown.
Okay.
And this is one of my favorite. I'm playing Leon,
That
one of the other
mustache.
replicants, and we got the director is the body double for whichever one I'm not playing in that shot, and I do that kind of. I got those eyes going on. That's actually from a deleted scene. In the theatrical, they don't use that, but he does. They have this eye poking thing that they like to do. And so here's Pris, and yeah, they really just paid a lot of attention to detail.
Dude.
This lighting, I feel, is pretty on point
Yeah.
here. But
That's incredible, dude.
this shot didn't work very well. We wanted that to be more prominent.
How many days did it take to film it?
I think it was. I mean, everything. Most of it was at this one warehouse, and then a separate. I think it was just 2 shoot days. This day, yeah, I got this guy. Got the shoot days this one warehouse day, and then one Chinatown day. I believe was all it was.
Man.
Unless we may have had 2 days at the warehouse. I don't remember.
This is incredible, man.
What'd you use for rain? I like to hear everybody's different ways of making rain.
What did we do? Oh man, what did we do? I think it was just kind of like water bottle stuff, like real.
Classic.
Yeah, and in fact, it didn't work too well. Oh, we got the little dance number at the end. Originally, we ran out of time. I wanted every character dancing in front of that light there, but we only had time for Roy.
Oh, dude, we're definitely gonna link this and make sure it gets the proper love it deserves.
We believe you, Roy, and we believe what you saw, but you're just like us, and now you're nothing at all. Because he says, I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
Yeah.
I believe you, Roy. I believe what you say. But you're just like us, and now you're nothing at all. We all die. It's not just you, Roy. We're all mortal. We're all finite. There's the geisha.
Next time you do a debate, you gotta wear the geisha out.
Gotta wear the geisha. That's right.
Man, when did you film this again?
This was 2019.
Oh, somewhat recent.
Yeah, I mean 3 years ago, I guess.
Yeah.
Pretty recent. Because I was released. I had a 5-track EP. This was one of the tracks on it, and I wanted to do as many videos as possible. And this was kind of the more ambitious one, and so that was released in 2019.
Oh man, this episode has run the entire gambit of things. I did not expect this.
Didn't expect some Blade Runner tribute stuff here.
No.
There's 0 Point Energy is another one. That was I'm very proud of that one as well. However, it is just cobbled together from very highly psychedelic stock footage. But
well, unfortunately, I don't know if something's going on with our Wi-Fi. My hotspot's not working so great, is it? Sorry, dude.
It happens.
This has been awesome. You are welcome back anytime, especially when you got new music coming out.
Sure.
We'll plug that more, and we'll talk
That
more
sounds
music. And hopefully another music video as well.
Yeah, I'm
Dude,
hoping to. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on,
Absolutely,
man.
yeah.
Again, everybody, if you want to get Is This Wi-Fi Organic, check it on Amazon and other social media or website selling outlets-ish.
Yeah.
Professor Dave Explains, YouTube's channel, Dave Explains, Twitter and Instagram. And make sure you show some love and go to Tannhauser Gate on Simulated Sun. Watch the video as well. Peyton, play us out. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into the show. I really, really appreciate you guys. This has been such a unique and great episode. We're on episode 199. Next episode is Guys Night Special Edition, 200th episode. We made it this far without being canceled.
Guys Night has already happened, actually.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Last episode was 199. Remember, we're doing Guys
That's
Night has
right.
already
Guys
happened.
Night has already happened. This is episode 201, not 199. But thank you for tuning in. Totally forgot about that. Guys' night was a blast.
Yeah, it was so good.
So much pain, so much suffering, but we made it through. Again, thank you for tuning in. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, comment, show some love. And yeah, thank you guys. I really, really appreciate you guys. You have been with us for over 200 episodes. And yeah, we're going to keep going. Always remember to listen, think, and then talk. Bye, guys.